see a big difference.
Because I just don't be trying to explain to me. Ghislaine Maxwell, get that on the table.
Todd Blanche is a great gentleman. He's a great man. He's a great lawyer. He's got a great heart. But he's over there now. I don't know exactly what's happening, but I certainly can't talk about pardons.
Can you trust what she's telling him? She's a convicted trafficker who's eager to get out of prison.
Well, he's a professional lawyer. I think he's been through things like this before. But you should focus on Clinton. You should focus on the president of Harvard, the former president of Harvard. You should focus on some of the hedge fund guys. I'll give you a list. These guys lived with Jeffrey Epstein. I sure as hell didn't. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, just don't be part of
the question. Clinton, you should focus on Clinton, the former president of Harvard, and hedge fund guys. Oh, man. You guys ready? What's going on? It's heating up. Trump dropping some bombs. Man, it is. It's getting epic, guys. First of all, I want to say sorry for last night. 2 lives normally. I missed this week, Tuesday and Thursday. Lots going on in my life, and it's just been exhausting. But tonight, going to make up for it. All right. So, had to talk. So we got so much going on. I was going to do a lot of different stories tonight, but it turns out that the Epstein stuff's just still taking over. So Trump is naming names. They spoke to Ghislaine Maxwell today, so we're going to have to cover that. That is huge. And then also got to break down this Wall Street Journal story that also went to the New York Times, so on and so forth, about Trump being in the list. So got lots to cover. And meanwhile, there's a gigantic thunderstorm going on outside my window right here. So if you guys hear noise, I apologize. But also, if there's any weirdness, my internet seems fine right now. But if I disappear, it might be because of the storm, not because of YouTube. Although I see I'm blurry on YouTube right now. So that's awesome. But it's not from my internet connection so far, which is always great. So I apologize for that, guys. Hopefully the stream clears up. It has been pretty good lately, streaming from Rumble, but tonight, who knows? Anyways, let's say hey to some people. I got AZ Tropic over here on Rumble and Loch DeFell. What's going on, guys? Here on YouTube, got plenty of peeps in the hizzy. Cassink, Moody, Frank Anastasio, Lock Up, Just Mike, US1, Toe Cramp, Scott Volkovich, Kim Wiley, Barefoot by DC, Wago Waco, Lyrical, Shogun, CJ Yukon, Hey Now, Hero at Large, Candace Morrison, Stephen Cromer, Sooner Man, what's up? Alan Krantz, how's it going, man? Auto Mags, JJ Jackson, Joe Scarpaggia, and Lyrical Renaissance. Love it. Renaissance asks about GTI after it starts training. I think the sky's the limit with GTI once it starts training, honestly. Yeah, I think 10 is very possible. Lyrical asks, I think next 2 weeks are going to be the most interesting Fed rate crypto report, August 1st. Market hedge fund Epstein list, rabbit hole we go. Rebate, yeah, it's getting fancy, isn't it? Hero says, if there's anything negative about Trump and the Epstein files, the Democrats will use it. You think? I don't know. Yes, I do. They definitely would have. What is going on, Bird? All right, guys. Well, let's get right to it. I'm going to start with right here because this is what Trump said was very interesting. And in that quick clip right there, and check this out. So going back, MJ Truth Ultra posts, the names President Trump dropped today regarding Epstein is listed in a Q post with 100 plus other names. Should be focusing on Larry Summers, former president of Harvard. You should be focusing on Clinton, Summers, some of his friends, the hedge fund guys, Glenn Dubin, founder and former CEO of Highbridge Capital, other names, Harvard associations. There's where Trump was speaking, and here's the list that was shared in a Q post several years ago. I've shared the Ryan Dawson list. We got some new people on here. A lot of these were on the flight logs. It does not mean that they, we're not alleging they all did something, because some of these people did not go to the island. But there's Alan Dershowitz. Hey, buddy, how you doing over there? But Jim Carrey, Jimmy Kimmel, John Cusack. So, again, not alleging, but this is a list shared a long time ago, and Trump was quoting it. So that starts out very interesting. And so Graham says the quality is great compared to watching my live on a year 2000 flip phone. Well, that's high praise there, sir. Thank you so much. By the way, before I go any further, guys, even though it's blurry, forgive me for that, but please take 1 second, hit that like, hit that subscribe if you're new. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're on X, would you hit that repost for me? I greatly appreciate that. And then, even though I haven't caught up on the members live from this week yet because I was out, it's coming, guys. Don't worry. Members lives every week, once a week. If you want to be a part of those, go into the description down on Rumble and YouTube. Click that Patreon link. Get your first month free to the membership. Get members lives front and back. Already happened. And get into the Patreon or the Discord group where we talk and got it going all day long with politics, conspiracies. We talk faith. We post memes. We build relationships. We talk stocks. It's a great time. All right, here's the big story of the day. So, man, this is going to be all Epstein tonight, guys. Just be ready for it, okay? That's 99% of what I got tonight, because there's just too much going on. Breaking: Ghislaine Maxwell is granted limited immunity during her meetings with Trump's Deputy Attorney General. The immunity allowed Maxwell to freely answer Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's questions without fear her responses could later be used against her. His attorney said she didn't hold anything back. So all limited immunity means is that they told her, listen, you're already in prison. Anything you say tonight, here's your little contract. They slide it across the table. They say, sign this, and anything you say over the next few hours during this interview cannot be held against you in court. We can't take you back to court to up your sentence. So she's like, okay, I'm going to spill some beans. And apparently she sang, as Charlie Kirk posts here, Ghislaine Maxwell provides Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the DOJ with information of 100 people linked to Jeffrey Epstein. David Oscar Marcus, Maxwell's attorney, said she was asked about every possible thing you could imagine, everything. This is very interesting right here. This was the first opportunity she's ever been given to answer questions about what happened. The truth will come out about what happened with Mr. Epstein, and she's the person who's answering those questions. Holy smokes. This is what it's been all about the whole time, guys. I think we've been building up to this. I think the Trump administration playing their games with Epstein, throwing everybody off, they were building to this. This is where it's really going to be. And I got some story later that kind of confirms that they might not actually have much in the files, but Ghislaine's testimony, that, my friends, is very, very interesting. And that might be where the spicy stuff is. Now, she's currently in for 20 years. She's a little older. Good chance she could die in the prison. She was convicted on trafficking, but only to Epstein. And in her trials, they never spoke about anybody else. She wasn't asked about anybody else. How weird is that? And so her lawyer says this is the first time she got to talk about it. And being that she's, this is a scorned woman. This is a woman who, she's been through it. She got ditched by the players at B. They gave her up. They let her go to prison, be their fall guy. You better believe she wants to drop stuff. And here, You know, people are being like, Ghislaine didn't suicide herself. Well, guess what? It's too late now. She gave the testimony. They did 2 days of interviews. This started yesterday and continued today. 2 days spent with Ghislaine Maxwell going through it all. This is wild. Here is a little statement.
Talk about this
attorney. Let's play the whole thing here. Hear what he has to say.
It's going to be based on how this meeting with the Deputy Attorney General went. Are you satisfied with how it went, and how will that influence?
Sorry, it's quiet.
I think Ghislaine did a wonderful job. She literally answered every question. She didn't say, you know what, don't ask me that. I'm not going to talk about this person. She was asking maybe about 100 different people. She answered questions about everybody, and she didn't hold anything back.
But isn't the
information that came out from this interview?
Real quick, she didn't hold anything back. You think he knows? He's the guy. He's the man who has he's been her lawyer, which means he knows all the dirt, you know, attorney client privilege. He knows all the dirt. So when he says she hasn't held anything back, he means it.
That wasn't discussed during the trial, or
oh, the trial. There was so little discussed at the trial. You know, a lot of people said, why didn't she testify at trial?
Did you hear that? So little discussed at the trial. Why didn't she testify at the trial? This is fascinating.
The case wasn't proven at trial. She has a Fifth Amendment right. Very different situation. I was surprised to hear folks that know better saying she should have testified at trial. That's silly. When the government doesn't prove their case, you don't testify. And so she didn't testify at trial, but it's a different situation.
With the president even invoking the word pardon today, does she have an incentive to just tell the Deputy Attorney General what he wants to hear?
No, because she wants to tell the truth, because the truth can be corroborated or disproven. If she lies, they could charge her with lying.
They did charge her with lying.
Do you hear that? So her deal, apparently her immunity deal, is only contingent upon her telling the truth. Basically, if they bust her lying, he just said they could charge her for lying. That makes it even more interesting, because if they catch her in a lie, so she had literally no incentive to lie.
So that was dropped. They did charge her with that. That was dropped. And, you know, it's interesting, right? Because the Southern District of New York had a very specific view of the case and charged her in a way that we believe was disproven and wrong. And that's what one of our goals is now, is to try to show how they got it wrong.
If she is seeking a pardon, how do you go about doing that now with a potential congressional testimony pending, with the Deputy Attorney General?
You know, we're going to take one day at a time. I know that's very cliche, but it's true, because things are happening so quickly. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And you know, listen, the president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, I'll tell you right now that, first of all, Trump has said he has no plans on pardoning her, and rightfully so. You can't pardon this woman right now. However, I can see one case where they might decide to pardon her, and that's if her testimony leads to the downfall of many others. If she can become a heroine by proving that all these other men and maybe some women, if they do that, then that could open up the door for pardon. But she's gonna have to bring down some big fish. So we'll see what happens. But folks, this just got really interesting, because now Ghislaine has every incentive to fight for a pardon. It's in the water. She can sniff it now. Her lawyer is talking about it. They're trying to get it. So she's going to be playing ball this whole time. And that's going to change everything. Toe Cramp says, how is she still alive? Jeffrey's not. She must have serious protection. Serious protection, or they didn't think she was important enough. That's possible too. Remember, Jeffrey wasn't killed until he was captured, but they killed him before he testified and went to jail. So when they captured Ghislaine, they put her on lockdown much more carefully. So I think that's how she's still alive. Kat Sink says the media and the left are freaking out, but hey, they wanted the files. Now what are you going to do? Oh yeah, just wait. Just wait. Oh, Pedro, we're going to talk about that too. Maybe not. I'm talking about something about that later. So this has been the talk of the town. Let's play this. I want to play this clip from Laura Ingraham as well, going into more depth on this.
It is amazing. I went back and started watching a lot of the old interviews from 4 and 5 years ago of Brennan and Clapper today, and it's just shameless. I mean, they went on television. Forget going before Congress, which is potential perjury problems for them. But there's interview after interview after interview, just cementing this idea in the public's mind. I'm an intel expert. I'm a chief. I was at the top, and this is what it looked like to me. And it was all a lie. And then they're like, well, you're Tulsi Gabbard, Matt. Tulsi Gabbard's hurting the intel community's influence and reputation with her reckless commentary. What?
Well, I mean, it's all deflection, right? So here's a good question to ask. And now you sort of glanced at this earlier. Why in the world would the democratically controlled Justice Department that was very active, a very active Justice Department, did no one ever decide to go down and talk to Miss Maxwell in the first place?
There it is. Why in 4 years did no one in the Biden Justice Department go down to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell? I mean, we've been saying it this whole time, right? Why did they never release the files if Trump's in it? Well, why didn't they even go talk to her? I mean, come on, guys. This isn't rocket science.
I think the answer is because no one wanted to know what she would say.
Exactly.
Because it probably wasn't going to be good. So now you realize that this is probably not going to be a good thing for the Democrats. So what do? They deflect again, and they say, oh, this is a big crisis for Donald Trump. Big crisis in Epstein. I don't think there's a crisis at all for Donald Trump. I think what they've done is they're trying to deflect from the past. They're trying to make the new news that Tulsi Gabbard had sound like, oh, that's just old news. There's nothing to see here. And let me give you a poll that'll back me up on this. So the media that you're talking about would not report on anything that Gabbard referred to the Justice Department for 4 or 5 days. I was in the field Tuesday at a poll back. About 80% of Republicans know about that referral. About 62% of independents know about it. Less than 50% of Democrats do because they all rely on that old regime media. But somehow social media always gets around this media group, and sooner or later, the truth is going to come out, both on Epstein, but also on what took place in 2016.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's a couple interesting things in there, but instead of, he's making the point that Democrats are deflecting. They got in too deep. And we said this earlier, a couple nights ago, that actually it was last week, that Trump baited him and he got him in. And now they're trying to find outs. They're trying to find a way to change the narrative on this, to fling it back on Trump, and all at once. Okay. This is piling up all at once, where all of a sudden there's exposure starting to come in the Epstein stuff that they didn't think Trump would do. They didn't think Trump would go this far, interviewing Ghislaine, pushing for the grand jury documents to come out. I mean, they didn't think he was actually going to do it. Now he's out naming names. Remember, if Trump was guilty, if he was guilty, why keep bringing it up? You'd want to just put out the stuff from Tulsi and then ignore the Epstein stuff. Just pretend it didn't even happen. That's how you make stuff go away. You don't keep bringing it up over and over. But Trump's now dropping names. He's dropping Bill Clinton's name out there. Just Larry Summers, throwing stuff out there. He keeps talking about it. He's not ignoring it. He's not trying to make it go away like he did at first. We're watching a game here. We're watching a very interesting game. And the other thing I thought was really interesting that he just said is how much Democrats don't know based on where they get their news. He said 62% of Republicans and independents knew, but 50% of Democrats had no idea that this was going down. So we're getting more information. The Democrats are just living in their bubble. and a lot of information is not coming through to them. It's wild. It's just wild times we live in. Then there was this really interesting thing that happened with Ghislaine at the end here. It says she returned to prison with a white box after meeting with the DOJ. And here she is holding a box. Now, when you look at that, that looks like a white tub that could have files in it. It'd be the kind of tub you'd give somebody who's going back into a cell or back to their classroom or something full of papers. Obviously, it's too hard to know. This is blurry, but I do wonder if they gave her a bunch of files to go through and to make notes on, which would mean she's fully working with the Trump administration now to do all this. So this is getting more and more interesting. And I just really truly feel that the Democrats, the independents, anybody who's more on the left side is really going to rue the day they push Trump to make all this happen. I really do. Bird says, keep Tulsi and crew in prayer for God's protection. Amen to that. They are dealing with dark forces here. Tocramp says, we're witnessing the systematic destruction of the old guard. Completely agree. Bird says, I can't wait until they all start turning on each other. Who'll be first? Amen. CJ Yukon says, what's in the box? What's in the box? Oh, man. Brad Pitt, 7. Love it. Here's the unusual Wales reporting. Trump said he's not considering pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. So that's officially the statement right now. Again, the only way I see that changing is if she helps brings people down, if she's contributing. And again, by the fact that she's naming names, her lawyers out there saying she's saying everything, she's answering every question truthfully. She's got an immunity deal on everything she says. Can't be used against her unless she lies. So she has every incentive to tell the truth, because if she lies and they catch her, they'll go after her and add to her sentence. She doesn't want that. She wants to be free. That's why she's playing this. She's trying to get a pardon, and then they're trying to fight for a pardon. So Ghislaine Maxwell is officially on Team Trump right now to help unbox all this, which is crazy. Which is crazy, especially considering. So last week we got the Wall Street Journal story about Trump's little note to Epstein, which was hilariously stupid and obviously not true. But 2 nights ago, which I wanted to talk about, but I didn't make it here, the Wall Street Journal dropped another story, and it says, hot off the press from Wall Street Journal is another hot load of shit. The DOJ reportedly told Pam Bondi that Trump's name is among many in the Epstein files. That's why he's hiding the release. But buried beneath the paywall, to read their Shutter reporting, tells the whole story. Their entire story is based on anonymous individuals familiar with them. Game over. I hope Trump sues them again. But here's what's interesting. So, first of all, the story, I read the story. And it mentions over and over again that none of this means that he did anything wrong. So they're not even trying to allege he did something wrong. But they wanted a good headline. Well, when you get a good headline, sometimes that's all you need for the news to run with it and people to start having thoughts. But here's the fact. We all know he's in the files. We know Trump was on the plane a couple times, but never to the island. The files are going to exonerate him because they're going to show he didn't do anything wrong. Greta Van Susteren also breaks down the story, says, did it say he did anything wrong or just name in the files? Lots of names are in the files who did nothing wrong. Key Pam Bondi told Trump his name is in Epstein files in May. So that's the whole story. But the liberals are freaking out about this. Here's a post from the Skiff. Trump is in the Epstein files and proves what we knew all along. Trump was never on Epstein's island. Epstein owned a total of 5 aircraft and bought Little St. James in 98. Trump's last trip on Epstein's jets before he permanently cut ties with them and banned him from Mar-a-Lago was 97. So that was the last time Trump was on a plane, 97. He didn't even have the island yet. Epstein's own flight logs, brother, and pilot prove out of the 7 total trips on Epstein's jets, Trump never flew on the Lolita Express, were all from Mar-a-Lago to New York, New Jersey, and Washington, D.C. And the only people ever on the plane were Trump's own family, Epstein, and his brother. His own lawyer personally asked Epstein if he had any dirt on Trump, and he said no. Julian Assange asked if he had dirt on Trump. He said no, because there isn't any. That's Julian Assange, head of WikiLeaks, the guy who got all the Hillary's emails. I mean, he's seen the dirt on many, many, many people. Never could find anything on Trump. Trump was the one who originally told the FBI about Epstein, the only one who helped prosecutors convict Epstein in 2008. Trump went after and had Epstein arrested under federal sex trafficking charges. His cellmate, in an interview, Epstein's cellmate, said that he'd asked Epstein if he had dirt on Trump. He said no. All the victims in the Epstein files that were released held no incriminating evidence on Trump whatsoever, and every victim testified they never saw Trump at any of the locations with women or children, and no abuse ever occurred, and they even supported him for president. Ask yourself why Biden never mentioned Epstein or the files, and most importantly, released them. No Democrats even mentioned Epstein for the past decade until now. Both Trump and Bondi have now both asked judges and demand that all Epstein files be unsealed and released, along with the Senate Republicans' attempt to pass the resolution yesterday. And Senate Democrats objected the resolution to release the files. Trump is clean. People can't accept that. And it goes on and on. But here is right here, just one of the testimonies. When did Donald Trump flirt with you? He didn't. That's what's inaccurate. Did you ever see Donald Trump at Jeffrey's home? Not that I can remember. On his island? No, not that I can remember. In New Mexico? No, not that I can remember. In New York? Not that I can remember. So there you go. Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump's a good friend of his, but you never observed them together? No, not that I can actually remember. Not off the top of my head, no. So this is actual testimony from one of the victims. Charlie Yard asks about WRE biometric tech. I'd have to talk about it another time, but I don't. Don't think that's where we're headed. But I know a lot of people are afraid of it. So, well, we could talk stock stuff at the end if you guys want. All right, Polymarket now has odds on who's on the list and guilty. Prince Andrew, 38%, Bill Clinton, 34%. They're betting Jay-Z, 26%, and there's Trump and Gates. And they got a whole list going on. Dershowitz, Henry Kissinger, Hillary, Kevin Spacey, Michael Jackson, Joe Biden. So if you guys want to make some, bet against the Trump one, and you guys will make a lot of money. I'm just telling you right now. Maxwell's attorney says in 2008, when Epstein was granted a sweetheart deal, the government promised him that no other co-conspirators would be prosecuted. The promise was broken when Donald Trump got elected. Both Epstein and Maxwell arrested under Trump.
That promised Jeffrey Epstein that any potential we're appealing on a very important ground, which is the government at the time promised Jeffrey Epstein that any potential co-conspirators would not be prosecuted. And so she deserves that promise. And I'm surprised. I don't think President Trump knows that the Justice Department took the position that that promise should not be upheld. President Trump is the ultimate deal maker. He knows that a promise made on behalf of the government should bind the government. And so we're hoping the Supreme Court agrees with us that when the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Florida promised that no potential co-conspirators would be prosecuted, that bound the Southern District of New York as well.
Are you looking for a new deal here?
Very interesting. That Florida case is the one that the Obama judge just kept sealed. We talked about that the other night. Remember all that could be attached to that? That was the one where Alex Acosta said that the intelligence agencies came to him and said, lay off him. He belongs to us. So lots going on in that Florida case. Changed the directory of all of this. And so we got to get those open. It's going to be interesting to see if Trump's able to get those files, but we may not need them now with Ghislaine testifying. Here's a great post from Bam, because I think he's so right about Trump. And I love this idea of the 2-week rule. He says, my Trump 2-week rule worked well during this concocted Epstein client list storm. Looking more and more like the cabal knew that DNI Gabbard was about to go after Obama and crew with proof and bombshell news. So the cabal decided to front run that news with the phony outrage over Epstein files. Trump knew their move and baited them further by acting as if he was not in favor of the release, or by acting as if it was no big deal. Now Trump's encouraging the release, naming names, setting the hook in the extended lips of the bottom-feeding suckerfish. As the slimy suckerfish is reeled in and netted, Team Trump will dominate the news with additional information about the cabal that orchestrated the fake Russia hoax and other treasonous acts. Sedition. Sure looks to me like Trump checkmated them again. I'm glad I sat tight in the audience and watched the moves on the chessboard as opposed to forming any incorrect knee-jerk conclusions. And that's, friends, is what we're all about here. We're all about avoiding those knee-jerk decisions and conclusions. We parse it all, and we continue to back up, take the 30,000-foot view, look at past and present, logically put the pieces together. And when you logically put the pieces together, Trump comes out every time. That's just how it is. It's just, so far, he has come out right every single time. I can't think of a time where Trump has let us down. That doesn't mean he's perfect, and it doesn't mean he's always accomplished what he meant to. But when I say he didn't let us down, it's not always his fault. In the areas he's failed, I believe it wasn't his fault. And he was held to between a rock and a hard place, or blocked by the Senate, or somebody backstabbing him. But I've just yet to see Trump let us down. And that's why I'm going to continue to just always trust the man first. And I believe, exactly like Bam said, we're seeing it play out again right now. And I shared this today. So continuing on this is the New York Times, of all places, actually had a good story on this today. And I don't think they knew what they were doing. So the story is called "How the Frantic Scouring of the Epstein Files Consumed the Justice Department." This came out right after the Wall Street Journal piece on the files, Trump being in the files, of them trying to basically frame him without doing it in a way where they can't get themselves in more trouble, I should say. So the New York Times put this piece out, and this piece, I can't pull it up right now because there's a paywall, but this piece basically proves what Trump was saying, that the files they have in the government right now that Bondi had and Kash Patel had and Bongino had, there's nothing in there that they could use. This entire piece, which is crazy because you would never expect the New York Times to validate them, but they did. And this entire piece it's amazing, but it's about how Bondi and Kash, once they got into the government, they were so excited to get the Epstein files that they put people on it for like dozens and dozens of agents, and they put them on there for hundreds of hours. And they went through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and they were like, tell us everything. We need to know everything on Epstein. They went after it hungrily, as we would hope they would. They did. And it just wasn't there. And so we can all speculate on, were those files, are they sealed by the grand juries and by other judges? Were they messed with, tampered with by the Biden administration? We don't know right now. But the New York Times validates what Bondi, Kash, Bongino, and Trump were all saying, that the files they have were nothing in them. I could not believe this story. If you guys don't have the paywall or a paywall blocker, read this story. It's fascinating. By the New York Times, of all places. I could not believe it. But it just goes to show that even the people who are actually doing real reporting, they're finding verification on what the government's been telling us, what Trump's been telling us. Here's the deal, though. The reason, because if this is all true, it would be easy for them to just come out and say, yep, and now we're going to move on. But that's not what Trump's doing. He's just like Bam wrote in the previous post, he's sucking them in deeper. And as he is, they're allowing all this Obama stuff to come out. And they're also working with Ghislaine Maxwell now and trying to get these other documents unsealed by courts. It's incredible. And I think the reason the House pushed off the Massey and Ro Khanna bill to try to get the all the files out from the government, they pushed it out because when the House comes back in September, there's going to be a lot more stuff out there. It's guys, get ready for a hot August. That's my opinion on it. It's getting more and more interesting. And then Robert Barnes has been sharing this, that the Epstein memo, the one that dropped and started all this, wasn't a distraction, it was a setup. Robert Barnes says the deep state insiders pressured Trump's team to release it early, just before Tulsi Gabbard dropped her Russiagate bombshell. Timing wasn't an accident. It was a calculated move to bury her evidence before it could shake the system. Now, he says Trump walked into a trap. Is it possible? Maybe. Maybe it was, because if Bondi, Cash, Bongino came to him because their people are pushing it, maybe he did. Maybe he said, okay. But and again, like I said, Trump's not perfect, but he's still using it to his advantage. And that's what I think is so important to recognize, is that this is starting to finally flip around. It took a few weeks. But at the end of this, and this is where Trump's just instincts are the best I've ever seen, because most politicians would be destroyed by this. But instead of being destroyed, Trump, the polling just came out today. He's the most popular he's been since March. I mean, his ratings are going back up. MAGA's coming back around. I told you guys last week, when the Wall Street Journal attacked him, that's like feeding, Popeye's spinach. You get the media back on him, and all of a sudden Trump got galvanized again. The Russiagate stuff started dropping, which they'd already planned. John Solomon told us that. This was all working out in the right direction. And now, if Trump goes through all of this with the Epstein stuff, MAGA, a large part of MAGA mad, all the influencers dumping on him, if he gets through this and then they release the Epstein stuff, and it validates what they've been saying, but it also validates what a lot of people have been thinking. We start getting more justice out of it. We start getting more exposure out of it. This is going to be the biggest win, and it's going to wake up so many people, because, again, the Democrats have been sucked in like never before. This is going to force, if this plays out the way I think it's going to, this is going to force a lot of Democrats to finally pay attention to something they never would have paid attention to before. They would have hid this on conservative radio, conservative podcasts. They radio. That's me thinking about Rush back in the day. Nobody really listens to the radio anymore. But the ecosphere of conservative news would have been the only place this was happening. The mainstream media would have been hiding it, which means that a lot of this would have just gone by the wayside, and probably we would have just ended up where we are already, with MAGA just being the only difference being MAGA as a whole being very happy with this whole situation. But instead, we've sucked the Democrats, and now we have them all calling for it. How many more people is this going to wake up? It's incredible how this is all playing out. And just a reminder for everybody, Epstein was a Democrat, donated to Democrats. Hundreds of Democrats went to his island. Democrats hoarded his files for 4 years, erased the incriminating doctor of the rest. Democrats blocked the release of New York files. Democrat judge blocked release of the grand jury files in Florida. Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. Don't forget that. Trump would be like the only major, and to be fair, in the 90s when he knew Epstein, he was a Democrat, but at the same time, guys, just crazy. Let me catch up with some of your comments here. Bird said, what I say about betting, daughter's on her way to Vegas tonight. I said, if you're betting on the odds of who's on the Epstein list, if you bet that Trump won't be on there, you could win big compared to everybody else. Butter says he's dismantling them piece by piece. I hope he's just getting started. I really do think he's just getting started. We're going to need 10 history books just for the year 2025, says Old Man. Oh my God, I know. I'm watching so much news every day. By the way, guys, please, if you like what you're hearing, if it's interesting and you find it valuable, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, support the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And then if you want to support further, you can join for free for a first month. Get all the members' lives for the first month, all Discord access free. And then if you don't like it, you can always cancel. It costs you nothing, no risk. And but you can click the link down in the description here on Rumble and YouTube and get that for free for a month. Rush is doing the Trump dance. Oh man, up in heaven. God bless Rush. Make Coke Mexican again. Cryptomaniac says crazy facial recognition ID text already being used. Look, it's gonna roll. All right, I think we got some trolls in the crowd, or maybe bots, because I got 3 people talking about the beast system like they're talking to themselves without even addressing the the video itself. So we're just gonna say goodbye to these people for now, and they can, if they want to come back, they can, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So I don't see why it's being brought up. Four people bringing it up. What is going on here? I'm getting hit up, man. This was a coordinated, definite coordination to try to take over the chat. Jeez Louise. Crazy. That's fun. Well, hey, I like when I get onto stuff. Profit Watch over here on Rumble says, you just said the arrests and convictions happened under Trump. Is that really true? Why do they have to investigate something they did last administration? I'm not quite sure what you're asking about. The arrests of Epstein and Ghislaine happened under Trump. The conviction did happen under Biden, to be fair, of Ghislaine. I didn't say the convictions happened under Trump. I said the arrests. He got them. But Epstein was killed under Trump as well. I don't know what you're asking, Profit Watch. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. Maybe if you could clarify a little bit more, I'd like to. He says, why would any other politician be destroyed if there's nothing there and is made up by the Dems? Trump's not saying, okay, I think I know what you're saying finally. When Trump says it's a Democratic hoax, he's not saying the Epstein files or what Epstein did is a hoax. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that this whole the attack from the media, all the attention that's being around this, all the pushing out that Trump's in the files and that he's guilty, that's the hoax. That people are falling into the trap of thinking Trump's doing a cover-up. That is the hoax. So that's what he means by that. You know, Trump, he's not the best with words. He blurts stuff out and you have to interpret based on context and based on, history of knowing Trump. But in the way we know this for sure is that Trump has been bringing up Epstein since 2015 when he was first a candidate. Okay, he was the one who first brought it up. He brought up Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton in 2015 and the trouble they were going to be in. Trump's been on the Epstein stuff since way back. Okay. So that's how we know Trump's not saying Epstein himself is a hoax. He's calling what's happening, the influencers going at him, all this attack about it. That's what is the hoax. And currently who's blocking the files is there's an Obama appointed judge in Florida who they asked to release the grand jury files, and that was blocked. And now they're asking one in New York. We haven't heard from that yet. And then the what Bondi has is she says there's nothing there. And she says it's mostly just child pornography. And that's what that New York Times story confirms, which is wild. That because that's one of the things everybody's saying is like, oh, well, then just release it then. Well, if you just release it, like that's what they're saying, there's nothing there. But they are going back. They're going to release some stuff. Well, at least that's what they say. We'll see how it plays out. But even the New York Times was backing up Bondi's story. So I don't consider that blocking. You can if you want, but if it's just child porn and allegations, that's not something a government should be releasing. Now, testimony is a different thing. If Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony comes out, if the testimony from these grand juries come out, I mean, that's stuff we want to see, and that's what they're pursuing right now. And I do think that's all going to come out. So I hope that answers your question. Tokran says D5 Avalanche just getting started, going to be a massive snowball. Amen. Butter said they were shadow banning last time. I'm influential enough to have YouTube sabotaging me. Dude, it's crazy, isn't it? I have this little show. I have just under 6,000 subscribers. I get about 150 to 200 viewers live every night across platforms. About 2,000 views per video when they've all gone through their stuff. Nothing big, and yet YouTube takes the time to shadow ban me. I get bots, I get trolls. It is wild. I don't like. I guess if you just tell the truth, even if you have a smaller audience, you have power these days. I guess that's how they see it. Or you're a threat. But hey, whatever. They've demonetized so many of my videos and stuff too. But I take it as a compliment. I do. At least they still let me stream for now. JVG says, who is the guy not wearing a hard hat in the Fed building visit? I don't know. Why was the guy? Which guy? I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about Powell? Lyrical says, I'm wondering, will the Epstein reveal start a crash in the market if major people associated are on the list? It depends. I think the way the market's trading right now, that nothing like that could make it crash. But unless it's like Kenny G. And he's the one I could see, or maybe like Jamie Dimon. But even that, because the market is just going to look at them as being replaced, I don't know if that could make it crash. But if enough hedge funds guys were to the point where it busted up the hedge funds. And now this was interesting because Trump mentioned hedge fund guys. He actually said that. It made me wonder, are we going to start getting investigations into the hedge funds as well? Because you could tell they're on the tip of Trump's brain. Now, it could just be for Epstein, or he could have been letting us know something else is coming. So we'll see. Cat Singh says, media saying today you can't believe Maxwell, but she was exonerated in her trial. What? Oh, wow. See, they don't want us to accept what she tells us. Thomas Dubois, how you doing, brother? I hope you're feeling okay, man. We've missed you. So we think about you all the time, though. Biff Tannen, how's it going? All right, guys, please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the show. All right, this is a huge story. I got two other last stories I want to end on that are just winning. And there's a lot going on. I mean, the Supreme Court gave Trump the ability to keep just completely devastate U.S. aid, which is huge. So there's been a lot going on, but I got two I want to cover. All right. The FBI just took down 4 of the biggest child sex abuse sites on the dark web. This is a massive story. Operation Grayskull, U.S. DOJ and FBI-led initiative targeting dark web child sexual abuse material sites. This is huge. I'm going to let Cash what happened. By the way, I just want you guys to think about this. So Bongino has announced that basically 830 child sex traffickers and pedophiles have been caught since the FBI and Pam Bondi came, or Cash took over the FBI. Pam Bondi came in. That's almost 1,000. Then you think about all the trafficking that's been stopped across the border, which Joe Biden led the greatest child sex trafficking ring in history with over 300,000 children missing. We've recovered 30,000 so far. It's not nearly enough, but it's something. And now this, and you try to tell me, like people try to tell me that Trump is the pedo. get out of here. They are the most pro-child saving and protecting administration in history. And the first 6 months of this administration, they've done more to stop trafficking and pedophiles than any administration in history in just the first 6 months. I cannot wait to see what they do with the rest of their time. But here we go.
Everyone, I'm Kash Patel, Director of the FBI. I'm excited to announce the results of a global operation to take down 4 of the biggest child sexual abuse sites on the dark web and bring the criminals who operated them to justice. As a result of Operation Grayskull, the FBI arrested 19 subjects here in the United States, and working with our international partners, helped coordinate additional arrests in 7 more countries. Shockingly, many of these perpetrators had no prior criminal records. They were people we knew and trusted, neighbors, colleagues, even family members. They were active in our communities and around our children. This is why we must stay vigilant. Investigations like this are thorough and resource intensive. They often take years due to the complexity of tracking perpetrators on the dark web. Specialized teams like the FBI's Child Exploitation Operational Unit work tirelessly to find those who harm our children and put them behind bars. Through global partnerships and dedicated resources, the FBI works to ensure that all children have the chance to grow up safe and free from exploitation. Rest assured, we will keep hunting these criminals no matter where they are. Thank you for keeping our children safe.
Incredible stuff. Incredible. Listen, this, I mean, only with everything we know and what we're actually seeing that's factual. I mean, we have the data to back all this up. If the only people who could say that Trump's a pedo, that this administration is protecting pedophiles, you have to be either insane, incredibly stupid, or just not paying attention. Those are the only options. So ignorant, insane, or stupid, because that's really what it comes down to. And anytime somebody comes out and is just like, Trump's on the list, I'm like, dude, here's all the evidence. They don't care about the evidence, but the evidence is overwhelming that Trump was trying to stop Epstein for 20 years. Okay. The evidence is overwhelming that the Trump administration is the only administration out of the past 5 that has actually made it a priority to go after trafficking. Not only that, they're shutting down Planned Parenthoods across the U.S. This is the most pro-family, pro-children administration in modern history, maybe in history, period. It's incredible. They are single-handedly changing how everything's been done. And that's one of the reasons they're hated so much, because the elites love to abuse children. They just do. And that's for another show, probably a Members Live. And then another huge win right here. Media Matters. I don't know if you guys all know who Media Matters is. A lot of you will. One of the worst, disgustingly leftist rag media groups there is. They're about to close up entirely because they're drowned in legal bills thanks to Musk and Trump. They've racked up $15 million in legal fees defending themselves from Elon Musk suits alone. Trump's FTC is vigorously investigating them, driving up their expenses. They've already significantly slashed their staff, struggling to pay bills. And now that USAID cash has dried up, there's no one left to bail them out. Good riddance, Media Matters. This is huge. Media Matters for years has been seeding stories to media outlets that are just outright lies. They've been undermining good reporting. They're a despicable organization, and to see them go away is beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful, guys. We are winning so hard right now, and what this whole Epstein thing turned out to be, at first it seemed like a problem, then it became a distraction, and now I think it's going to become a really good thing for the Trump administration, which means when you take that away, I mean, MAGA and Republicans are almost unanimously very thrilled with what Trump's been doing. Independents, about 75 to 80% thrilled with what he's been doing. If you just remove the Epstein stuff, that was the only thing that he was getting knocked on this whole time. I know the whole tariff thing, but that turned around real quick. So it's win after win after win. And in order to pull off what Trump needs to pull off, that we're all hoping he does before 2028 and JD Vance takes over, in order to do this, there's going to be times every once in a while, for a week, 2 weeks, a month, where it looks like they don't know what they're doing, where it looks like they're screwing up, where things get harder. But it's all because everything is such a mess. Have you ever had to clean, like, say, your closet, and you go in there and it's just an absolute disaster? Well, the only way to clean up your closet is to make your room a mess, because you got to take everything out, man. You got to take it all out and put it all back in. You got to make that room a mess first. Well, that means that during that time, until you're done, your room looks like an absolute disaster. But it's not really, because all that stuff's going back in the closet and it's all going to be cleaned up. And then you'll have a clean closet and a clean room. And that's what's happening right now. The Epstein stuff was the closet. And in order to clean up the closet and get the Democrats, they're doing a lot more, and it's making a big mess everywhere. But when it's all done, it's all going to be cleaned up. That's what I think is happening right now. US1 says, where did all the talk of Elon's third party go? Oh, yeah, that disappeared real quick, didn't it? Elon hasn't mentioned that in almost 2 weeks now. Not only that, Trump put out a statement the other day that he's not going to revoke Elon's contracts. Makes you wonder. Either they made up, or there's a little bit of kayfabe going on there too. So here's the deal. We've been psyoped forever, but mostly from the left. Okay, mostly from the bad side. But the Trump administration, they know the war they're in requires psyops on their side as well. And this is why it's so important to trust the people in charge and to pay attention to all the context of past and present. If you don't do that, you get psyoped really easy. And what a psyop does is it appeals to your emotions, because logic has nothing to do with psyops. It doesn't. You don't get, it's just, what a psyop is basically marketing. And in marketing, I'm in marketing. And in marketing, you always appeal to people's emotions, because the people who think logically, you can't market to them. They go find what they want anyways. And they just buy that. They research, and there's no way to get them to buy impulsively. The only thing you can hope to do with people who do that, which it's only like 10% of buyers, the only way you do that is just to stay in front of them enough where they give you attention, and then hopefully look into you. And then you got a product good enough that those people will buy. But for the vast majority of people, you just want to appeal to their emotions, get them excited, get them hopeful and inspired and wanting to feel better. And in politics, it's kind of the opposite. You want people to be, and I'm talking from a psyop perspective, you want people to be afraid. You want people to be angry. And that's how you get them to make poor decisions or to go down the rabbit hole the wrong way. You inflame them. And whenever I see a bunch of reactions going on, it just makes me think something else is going on here. There's too many people reacting in unison for this to be real. And that's what just happened with the Epstein thing. So I hope we're all learning. And it's not that I'm perfect. Sometimes I get sucked into, but by the time I sit down on my show, I'm usually ready to do the logic route, to parse through. And that's why I love doing this show. And that's why I love talking to you guys, because I learn from you guys. You share stuff with me. You challenge me. But again, I think things are looking much better. So I'm excited for where we're going. We are winning so hard right now. The largest Planned Parenthood in the East, it was in Houston, Texas, just shut down because of all this, and they're shutting them down in California. Media Matters gone, USAID gone, NPR, PBS gone. I mean, guys, that's all in the last 2 weeks. We are winning so much. Oh, Straight Cash says nothing to do with this episode, but RIP Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, we got a few RIPs to shout out. Ozzy Osbourne, RIP. But the one that hurt the most was the Hulk. So Hulk Hogan, we salute you. God bless you, man. And thanks for all the fun. Thanks for all the fun. I remember watching Suburban Commando as a kid, man. Great. Or Thunder Lips, Rocky 3. Hulk was the man. And so God bless him. God bless Ozzy. I hope he got his life on track by the end there. Paranoid, one of the great rock songs ever. Even better than Crazy Train. Sorry, Mario. Paranoid's better. But that's Black Sabbath, so maybe we won't count it as an Ozzy song. Anyways, God bless you guys. Love you guys. Have a great night. I might see you again this weekend. Members, definitely keep an eye out because I owe you guys a members live, and I'm trying to come up with something fun to do. There's so much more to talk about. I saw Superman and Fantastic Four in the past week. I can't recommend them highly enough. I super enjoyed both of them. They're great superhero films, and the best part is no wokeness. Just straight superhero fun movies. We've got culture back. We've won the culture back. It's incredible. So no stock talk. I don't have much to say on the stocks. So Finger was up big today. Like 25 percentage run, mostly driven by calls. The calls were coming in for the twos, and I think that was a lot of money driving in because of that. M10, rough day, but still holding above 15 pretty strongly. So that's good. And then not much else to report. So, oh yeah, Theo Huxtable died as well. Yeah, Hulk got saved and baptized last year, which is amazing. Dare me to buy 5,000 worth of XRP. I don't even have $5,000 to buy XRP right now. Anyways, if you guys want to get on the stock talk, you really want to get in the Discord. We talk all day. The charts guys share stuff. It's good stuff. So anyways, yeah, if you guys want a good family type comic book movies with no woke stuff, go check out Superman, Fantastic Four. They're both super fun and they're both kid appropriate. So good stuff. All right. Love you guys. Have a great night. I'm going to start my Friday, my weekend. Hope you guys do too. Have fun and keep a lookout, especially members. You might see me soon, but things are going well. We're winning, and that's what matters most. So God bless you guys. Have a great night. Take care.